This will be a video explaining how to do some of the exercises from the Aplia 1.2 assignment set, starting with number 1, recognizing arguments. So this looks quite a bit different than the recognizing argument set that we got in Aplia 1.1. To start off, they're going to want us to do a little bit of definitional work. If you go to the book, it's going to talk about two parts of arguments. One is an inferential part of an argument, one is a factual part of an argument, and I've got to correctly identify those here. So read the following paragraph completed by using the drop-down menu. It starts off by saying, since an argument requires premises, an argument must claim that at least one statement presents true reasons or evidence. This property of an argument is known as the arguments. Now, this is not the easiest thing to sort of parse out, but here when we talk about premises needing to be true, that we're talking about an argument's factual claim. So arguments must contain within them something that is true, some kind of fact. And since an argument also requires a conclusion, an argument must claim that some statements follow from those true reasons or evidence. This is a kind of move to say, well, because those things in the premises are true, this thing also has to be true. And that move of saying that these things support or provide reasons to think that the conclusion is true is the argument's inferential claim, if we've got it here. Yeah. It's the inference you make when you say, okay, because those things are true, this also has to follow. All right, so I do those two there. Then moving down here, they want me to explain why each of these passages is not an argument. So this is a good skill to have, recognizing when something is not an argument because it lacks something particular. Okay, so let's look at passage B real quick, because this one's short and sweet. If gas prices decrease, then the economy is improving. All right, so this looks like it could be the start of an argument, right? So they're telling me, okay, if this happens, then here's what's going to occur. But there isn't any strong link between why gas prices decreasing then shows that the economy is improving. So when I go here, well, this does have something about an inference, right? So if this was true, then this is what happened. There's no factual claim that says, okay, gas prices are decreasing, therefore the economy is improving. And that's what I picked there, okay? If I go up to A, it says, we maintain that something must be done about the stray dog problem in our town. We also hold that the city should do more to protect our neighborhood from crime. In addition, we believe that if these programs are carried out, we will be citizens of the greatest nation, or greatest city in our country. Okay, so here, it also looks to me like there's not a whole lot of factual claims in there. They're just making claims about how something should be. But there also isn't a kind of inferential claim to show why all of these things would support a particular conclusion. And I think that's what's more important here, that there isn't this easy inference where to say, okay, yeah, because that's all true, we will then be citizens of the greatest nation in our greatest city in our nation. So I'm going to include inferential claim there and see what it gives us. All right, and those were correct. And I didn't do that one down there, so it's giving me incorrect. But you'll note that if you had gotten it wrong in these cases, it's going to give you some explanation for why it's missing either an inferential or a factual claim. All right, let's try the next assignment in the set. Simple non-inferential passages. All right, here it's going to ask me to take a look at some passages and then pick which non-inferential passage it is. So in the book in 6.2 it gives you a list of various non-inferential passages like warnings and recommendations, that sort of stuff. And for each of these passages it's going to be one of those non-inferential things. I have to pick out which one it is. Now note, non-inferential passages are also typically non-arguments. So this is again helping me understand when something is an argument and when it isn't. Okay. Be careful to turn off your electricity before installing a new power outlet. Okay, is that a statement of belief or opinion? Well, not really. It's not saying here's what I believe, here's what I think. This is actually what looks like a kind of advice, or in this case specifically a warning. They're telling me, hey, be careful because something bad could happen essentially in this case. So I'm going to choose a warning here. All right. Next up, President Obama was elected in a landslide victory over Senator John McCain from Arizona. Although many rural areas are Republican strongholds, Obama managed to capture much of the rural vote as well as his more urban political base. All right, so when I look at this, I should recognize this is just a collection of facts. There is no inferential claim being made here. They're not trying to convince me of anything using this information or try to show why something else is true. They're just saying, hey, here's the case. Here's a bunch of information that happens to be true. Okay, so I'm going to take this as a report. This is not, notice, a set of loosely associated statements because these are actually pretty closely related to each other, right? So this follows from this. So this is more just a report on what has occurred. All right. Whatever you do not attempt to deceive your significant other. Okay, this, you should notice, looks a lot like this one. They're telling me to not do something. This is a kind of warning. Now, I can see this also being perceived as a statement of belief or opinion because it also is that thing. So we'll see if the program is going to let us select multiple things here. Because if it was me on a test or something, I would say, well, I would count this as a warning because they're telling me not to do something. But also a kind of statement of belief or opinion, because this isn't so obviously like, yeah, true or false, like in this case, where being careful to turn off your electricity before installing a new power outlet, that's not really an opinion so much as, hey, this is a fact, you're going to get hurt if this happens, so don't do that. Here, it's less obviously a fact that you shouldn't attempt to deceive your significant other, because sometimes maybe that's in your best interest, like if you're throwing them a surprise birthday party or something. Okay. Lastly, if you feel the onset of a cold, you should drink lots of tea and take high-potency multivitamin supplement. You should also get lots of rest and not exert yourself too much. All right, so this is a bunch of advice about what to do in a particular case. Right, they're just telling me, here's what you should do in this case. They're not warning me that something bad's going to happen if I don't do this. They're saying, here's what you ought to do, just as a general piece of advice. Okay. And we'll see about this stickly one. Okay, they did give us as a warning. Now, I don't know. I'm going to try this real quick if it's going to let me, if I had selected statement of belief or opinion. Ooh, it would have said no. Okay, so that's kind of interesting and nice here. That if I get it right and I want to check to see was another answer of mine potentially right, I can go through and select different options and it's eventually going to give me the right one. Oop, not a report. It was a warning. Okay, great. All right, let's try another one. Expository passages, illustrations, explanations. This is really like the non-inferential passages assignment. They're just going to give me things and ask me, hey, is this, why is this, excuse me, what type of thing is this? Is it expository, illustration, explanation? So I'll just do one of these. They're going to give me the definitions first. That's kind of useful. So sheds light on some event or phenomenon by showing why something is the case. All right, I'm going to give that as an explanation, right? They're explaining something. Begins with a topic sentence followed by one or more sentences to develop that sentence. I'm going to call that an expository passage. Ooh, let's take a quick look here. Involves one or more specific examples to show that something means or how it is done. I'm going to give this as an explanation, as an illustration. Here they're saying, okay, here's what that would look like. Whereas expository passages are going to say, okay, here's a topic sentence. I'm going to develop that more and tell you more about it. They're going to I'm not coming up with the wrong verb here. But it's filled with exposition, explaining something after giving a topic sentence. Okay. Let's see here. Next, indicate whether each of the following passages is expository, passage, illustration, explanation. Okay. Earth orbits the sun because the pull of the sun's gravity is a constant. Earth moves at an angle relative to the direction of this pull. That's just an explanation, right? That's just telling me why something is the case. Right? Here, because here's why. A mammal is any animal, that has sweat glands, including glands that produce milk. Thus, humans, whales, and giraffes are all mammals. So are dogs, horses, and mountain lions. Okay. So this is a perhaps trickier one for me. It's clearly not just an explanation. It's giving me examples of something. So it looks like it may be pretty close to an illustration, right? Involves one or more specific examples to show that something means or how it is done. So I'm going to click illustration. It does have a bit of a topic sentence here, that a mammal is any type of this. But I think this is more clearly an example of giving one or more specific examples to show what something means or how it is done. All right, and we're good there. And if I had chosen an expository passage, it's going to say no, and this is what they would have given me. Passage B is an illustration because it gives specific examples of a general principle. All right, back to assignment. Let's look at argument explanations. Then I think I'll split this apart into two separate videos if need be, because we're already running kind of high on time. All right, arguments and explanations. Here they're going to tell me an explanation is a type of non-inferential passage that purports to offer an account of why some accepted fact is the case. An argument, by contrast, provides reasons or evidence for a conclusion, that it's not all just facts. Typically what happens is the conclusion in an argument isn't just obviously, oh, that's an already accepted fact. It's going to be something that's a little bit contentious that I have to provide reasons for to explain why that conclusion is something you should believe to be true rather than just, hey, this is true. It's just a fact. Some additional terminology here. Explanation has two parts, an explanans and an explanandum. The explanans is a statement or group of statements that does the explaining, and the explanandum is the thing that's being explained. All right, so here they want me to look at a passage as an argument or explanation, then answer the questions about them. All right. Vegetables generally have fewer calories than fruits because fruits generally have a higher sugar content than vegetables. All right. So this is not an argument. They're not trying to convince me that this is the case because this is all just factual stuff. Just saying, hey, look, vegetables generally have fewer calories. Here's why. Not because I'm trying to convince you of a contentious claim. Just here's why this is a fact. All right, so we'll click explanation. And the claim that vegetables generally have fewer calories than fruits is the thing being explained. That's the explanandum. That's what I'm trying to explain. And the thing that's doing the explaining, the claim that fruits generally have higher sugar content, is the explanans. That's the thing that's doing the explanation. And I note here that vegetables generally have fewer calories than fruits because what follows because here is just going to be the explanans, or probably butchering the pronunciation there. The explanans, the thing that is doing the explanatory work. And what follows before because is going to be the explanandum, the thing that's being explained. Down here, if extrasolar planets exist, then there's a chance of finding extraterrestrial life. Extrasolar planets do exist, so there must be a chance of finding extraterrestrial life. To answer this, right, I have to figure out, is there some claim in this that's being supported by the others? Is there an inference being made, or is this just supposed to be all the facts? After I've done that, I pick whether it's argument explanation, and then do the same thing. Is it a conclusion or premise? And then is it if it's an argument, or is it an explanand or explanandum if it's an explanation? Okay. Got those bits right. Let's close this down, and I think I'm going to make a second video to talk about the rest of the stuff in 1.2.